Medical team!
If that's how they want to take a victory, then let them have it that way.
Come on, guys! Come on! Hold it, hold it, hold it!
The Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge, an annual extreme endurance competition for athletes from across the globe. On the Indonesian island of Bali, 42 elite athletes push the limits of teamwork, tactics, and pure physical strength to prove who's the fittest of them all.
The last challenge was an intense one. The contestants carried a weighted stretcher and underwent a spectacular challenge in the pitch dark. These teams are quickly realising what the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge is all about.
Last time, the day started with a 4-kilometre obstacle run, a head-to-head cross-country competition that demanded strength, stamina, and a surprisingly heavy dose of strategy.
The road's narrow. As long as we get back to the gurney with the sandbags before USA and we can get in front of them, there's not much space for them to pass.
We've been used to Team South Africa setting the pace. This time round, it was Team Canada. They dominated with superior tactics.
Rotated our stretcher so that we controlled the pace and they wouldn't be able to go around us.
But in the end, it just wasn't enough for the win. South Africa won the first challenge, but struggled in the second, when an entirely new dimension was introduced to the competition: blind trust.
We don't talk much. That was the complaint from their side.
Equipped with military-grade night vision goggles, each team had to navigate a remote canyon entirely in the dark to build a bridge across the river.
It was a whole new world. We saw everything.
Partner live, fellas.
It was by far the most strenuous day of the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge. In the end, surprisingly, South Africa came last, but USA took home the victory. After 18 hours of grueling competition, South Africa managed to sustain its lead, but they did give up ground to the second-place Americans. Both Belgium and Canada moved up to second and third respectively, leaving a resilient Team Australia in last place. With any new day in the UFC comes a new set of challenges. For now, everything is at ease.
One of our girls woke up sick. Vomiting, not feeling great. So back at the hotel.
I think she had a bit of Australian food last night.
Hopefully she gets better.
Yeah.
Today's challenge will involve water, where pure strength and discipline are essential.
Oh, we're here. It's gorgeous. Beach is beautiful. I can't wait. I've heard that we're doing something with boats.
Water challenges are awesome. I mean, I die in this heat, so being in the water, I feel like I'm comfortable in the water. It calms me.
Today we have another challenge with water involved. How will Stephanie cope? This time the athletes won't be in water, they'll be on water, as they battle each other with paddles in traditional Balinese Yukons.
We had to do a tug-of-war boat challenge.
The stern of the boats were tied together with a rope. The 6 of us got into one boat, the other team got into another boat, facing opposite directions, and we had to row towards a bell that was on a pole, and the first team to ring the bell won the game.
It sounds easy, but besides strength and teamwork, well-made tactical decisions are also of huge importance.
You had slim paddles, you had thick paddles, so the strategy there was, who do you give what paddle? Do you give your not so strong a paddler a thicker paddle, or do you give your strongest paddler a thick paddle? And that made it very interesting.
Today's challenge has some added pressure. It's divided in 2 days, and the team that finishes last on day 1 will not be allowed to compete in the final on day 2.
So, super cool challenge and really hard on the upper body, trying to row against another team.
A great challenge, but some of the teams have some problems of their own, like South Africa, showing up to the start line with only 5 members. UFC rules state that there's no minimum players required at this event, so with Dina being sick, South Africa can still compete with only 5. Unlike previous events, the teams are given a few moments to test their equipment. Out on the water, South Africa can no longer hide the fact that Dina is sick and will not be competing in today's challenge.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Dana? Yeah, she's gone back to the hotel.
And learning that South Africa is taken to its Yukon with just 5 members, the Americans decide to play it safe as well.
I was just going to assess my back injury. I don't think I'm going to compete on this one, no. No, I'll take it easy. Try to recuperate for the next one.
In the meantime, Terence is testing some of the equipment. But with the start nearing, it's game on. Time for the event. A 5-member Team USA will take on a resurgent Belgian team that has shown up in full force. Making matters worse for the Americans, Team Belgium also have a few very experienced rowers aboard.
Our tactic was, when they hear the whistle, go a few times, like 5 times, hop, hop, and if you get a little, the push to go, and then all together.
Let's see how this tactical approach will play out. Team USA also depend on a well-chosen strategy.
We had a system just to drive and be on the same page as far as rowing, so we'd be row, full force ahead. And once we got close, we used our front member, Kim, who could kind of gauge and guide on her own self to say, okay, yeah, I can touch that bell. And she ran up to the front and jumped and swung to tap the bell.
Even one athlete down, the Americans' explosive strategy pays off and earns them the first win of the day.
We went against Belgium and we ended up beating them. And so I was pumped. I was jacked up. that's awesome. We killed these guys.
Next up, Canada versus Australia.
Being Australian, but we've also got some rowers in our team. I row, Robin's a rower, and also Vicky is a surf boat rower. Although we're used to facing backwards and rowing, the key factor was still there that everyone had to be in timing.
And they're off. But even a world of experience in the water never prepares you for the unexpected.
I was probably half a dozen strokes in and all of a sudden, snap, I had 2 pieces. Fortunately, someone was a quick thinker in there, and Nikki, my wife, was in front of me and she's passed her all back. So I've been able to get back in the game.
And with their paddle snapped in two, the Australians have no chance to hold off their closest rivals in the water.
I want to win fair, and I thought being down a paddle was garbage.
It's a bit hard to paddle up the creek without a paddle, as they say, but yeah, them's the breaks. Can't blame the equipment. We just didn't get off to a good start in the first place. At least the broken oar's gone now. We can have a fresh one.
Next up, it's the grudge match between our ranked 1 and 2 teams, South Africa and the USA. Smelling a possible victory against an understrength South African team, Rodney decides to push aside the back pain and join his team in the boat, giving the Americans one man up.
Here we go again. We've got rank 1 against rank 2 South Africa, though. This time have one person less. They've lost a young lady down to illness. Now, can they still win this next one and make it a clean sweeping game so far? Or will the USA find this weakness and finally find a way of beating this South African team?
Terence of South Africa verbally takes the lead and makes sure there's a high tempo. Team USA, on the other hand, just seem to be making the best of it. 30 seconds in, one member down, the powerful Team South Africa's focus and resolve helps them defeat Team USA once again.
South Africa, even with a man down, have proved way too strong for the USA. This team have been a force to be reckoned with from day one.
You need maybe just down and to the right.
Yeah.
So we're and then right away is it?
So we're too powerful on the right?
On the left.
On the left.
But then when we went to the right, I switched sides.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Oh, we all did?
While Team USA tried to come up with an excuse for their defeat,
Medical team!
there suddenly seems to be a problem with one of the other teams. Terence from Team South Africa seems to have hurt his toe getting out of the boat.
Yeah, guys, I've just lost my whole toe.
He needs medical attention immediately.
Terence, I actually warned him. We were walking towards the boat and I was feeling a lot of sharp things in the water. As we jumped onto the boat, I said, guys, when we get off this boat, please make sure that you take care of your feet. First thing that happened, Terence jumps off the boat, straight onto something sharp, big cut under his toe, a lot of blood. So we had to rush him quickly to the ambulance.
And of course, a painful injury like this could have major implications for the rest of the competition.
Do you know what? This shit is about not giving up.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
It is like open wound.
While Terence is patching up his toe, the next match is ready to begin. Belgium take on Canada.
You could see some of the other teams weren't synchronizing their paddling, and I think it made a difference. Having the rowers in sync is going to make a huge difference so that all the momentum is being pushed forward at the same time.
Now that the teams have warmed up and have had a glimpse at each other's strategies, the next round of tug-of-war could be vital. And they're off.
When we saw the others, they have all big arms, and also the girls are quite strong. So if you look at our girls, it's like one skinny one, but it's not only power. If you have the right tactic, you can do this also.
Just when Canada seemed to have the upper hand, a familiar frustration rears its head.
Yeah, some paddles got broken just hitting the rocks on the bottom or the side of the boat. Maybe they work out their upper body too much, I don't know the case, but they broke a few paddles. I did not.
This time, it's Team Canada that falls short due to the broken paddle. Shortly after, Anke from Team Belgium is able to reach the clock. Belgium win. But at the same time, Terence is still being treated in the ambulance. That cut to his toe looks much deeper than everyone thought and painfully requires stitches.
Terence has got one of the strongest minds on our team. He doesn't let anything get to him, and even in past injuries that he's had within his sporting career, I've never seen him in that much pain. Actually, I saw a different side to Terence. It was, he was in so much pain.
Something that's clearly had an effect on the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Team Canada are evaluating their defeat.
You had all the momentum there till that paddle broke.
Yeah. Just losing one of your strongest paddlers doesn't make it easy. I mean, we
tried to get it back, but when skinnier paddle, we lost too much traction.
Race official Fred has a little surprise for Brooke.
It's a new one.
A brand new paddle?
Totally new one.
It's too strong. Can I take it home?
Of course. It's my pleasure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
With the match between Belgium and Canada completed, it's time for South Africa to face Australia. Terence, however, is still being treated for his injury.
Come on!
That's why Victor asked race officials to postpone their match. Australia, though, filed a protest.
They say if we're not doing it, then we're going to get penalised for it.
What?
Who said that?
Who said that?
The Aussies say they're going to paddle against us.
Put your shoes on it,
because they said it's to their disadvantage.
How?
So they said because then they have to paddle twice in a row.
I got upset with the fact that Australia wanted to move ahead whilst my husband's sitting in an ambulance getting his foot stitched up.
And race officials agree with Australia.
South Africa have just been called to the start now to race Australia with just 4 competitors this time against Australia's 6. If they can win this, that will be one of their biggest wins of this competition so far.
But with just 4 members paddling, even the powerful South Africans can't make up for the absence of their charismatic strongman Terence.
I'm all for fair play, so we're a challenge and we're a threat to the other teams, and if that's how they want to take a victory, then let them have it that way.
As predicted, a win for Australia.
I wouldn't call it conflict, but they were applying pressure, which is good tactics from them. We have to respect that.
Even outmanned, the South Africans feel the effects from the loss.
Were they high-fiving each other?
I didn't high-five them.
No, were they?
Yeah.
Happy?
Yeah.
Yay.
They've just fired us up. It's fine. It's good.
Fortunately, Terence's toe is almost stitched up.
They did a very good job of stitching him up, and they've been incredible in the sense that after the event, every time he goes back in the water, they clean him up, and so we're quite comfortable with the fact that he is going in every time with the open wound.
Thank you.
Don't run on it.
Despite Team USA's impressive start to the competition, today has been a disaster. This means the number 2 ranked team in the whole competition won't be able to compete in tomorrow's final.
We were on a high stream, and we didn't do so well in that. And that's sort of where I would say that Team USA started to fall apart. You know, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
With the first day behind them, the remaining 4 teams retreat for a good night's rest and return in the morning, reloaded and refreshed. At the beginning of the second day, a familiar face shows up for Team South Africa. Dina is back from her illness.
Made it back up to 6-man team. How does that feel?
I'm very happy to be back in the team. I felt very disappointed yesterday not being here. So, yeah, all good.
Even with stitches in his toe, Terence seems to be his old self again.
I'm not going to be able to wear slops the rest of the holiday. Flip-flops.
On day 2, the stakes have changed.
And at 2, there was a current, which gave an advantage to one of the teams. So what they ended up doing was we faced each team twice, once going with the current and once going against the current.
There will now be 2 rounds of battles. While winning battles is crucial, the challenge is about time management. Either win quickly or lose slowly. The 2 teams that post the best times will face each other in the final. First up, Belgium take on South Africa.
Go Belgium!
Team Belgium shocked the South Africans by jumping out of the gates. The win gives them a serious boost in confidence. Every team's weak points are being scrutinised by their opponents.
There's no time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
The Belgians' confidence quickly fades against a surging Team Canada.
This is hard.
We got a rhythm. Oh, we're gonna crush these teams, and we did.
Canada continues its fast track to the finals by beating Team South Africa. For the second straight day in a row, they have lost some of their invincible sheen.
We've done fast on a timing point of view. We've done deep, slow, creating resistance through the water. Other than praying for a change of tide, I don't think much is going to swap this way.
Canadians and Australians paddle their way into the finals, with Team Belgium beating South Africa for 3rd place.
Second place is steak knives for us. 3rd, 4th is just soul-destroying for me. However, it's one event of a very long, hard challenge. So it just motivates us to fight that much harder for the next event.
But for now, a final between the far north and the deep south. Canada face Australia.
Australia, they're older than most of the other teams, but they have a lot of experience behind them, right? When you look at their physiques and stuff, they have big, tall guys and short guys with big legs and stuff. You can tell they do a lot of stairs, a lot of running, a lot of rowing. You got to watch out for them. Age is not always the case, right? You may think they're older, but they got a lot of energy and a lot of experience behind that.
Time for the first leg.
Carson's at the front, so she's going to be our go-to once we get close enough. She'll get onto the edge of the boat and ring that bell.
They missed the bell.
Yeah.
Carson, her job was to ring the bell, and she tried, and she failed.
Luckily, Paul was able to recognize that right away and get that bell pretty fast.
Canada win the first battle in 20 seconds. It could have been even quicker if Carson didn't miss the bell.
It was a group effort for that one.
But a win is a win. And if Australia want to beat them, they're going to have to beat them in less than 20 seconds.
When we heard that one of their people had jumped and missed the bell and they had to have a second person do it, we thought, oh, hang on a minute, we've got a bit of an advantage here.
Here we go, the all-deciding second leg. It's crunch time. Wayne of Team Australia makes the first attempt and fails. At this point, Canada are officially the winners based on their first leg time, but Team Australia simply refuse to give up. Wayne climbs back aboard and starts paddling. Australia make another attempt at the bell and fail.
We ended up winning, which was awesome. We were due for a good, strong challenge, and we were able to do well. I think we have a couple big guys, so we were able to really use our weight, and it played to our strengths really well.
Oh, guys, we got a W!
Today was awesome. We took home a win. So excited. It was like we were the underdogs. When we've climbed to the top, it feels so good.
We were pretty happy getting second.
That was great.
Look, we may not have got first anyway. The Canadians were a pretty strong crew. But at the end of the day, it certainly provided amusement for everybody watching in the boat as well.
Canada posts its first victory of the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge, with Australia putting up a great fight for second spot. They are followed by Team Belgium and South Africa, with USA coming in a disappointing fifth.
Of course, a disappointment, but I don't think there were many mistakes, so it's really our place.
We lost a member and lost another member. So as it was going along, we started changing our strategy around a bit. So did what we could, and yeah, we got 2 victories out of it, but at the end of the day, the better teams came out on top.
Even though South Africa and the USA underperformed in this challenge, both retained their top spots in the overall competition. Canada's strong showing helped them jump to third, with Australia and Belgium occupying the bottom 2 spaces.
Can we just do a group hug, ladies?
We've moved up a little bit after every event. Slow start, so happy to have third all by ourselves now. I think, especially after today, I don't think we can be too far behind USA, so hopefully we can move into second. South Africa has been the team to beat, and beating the top team was certainly huge for us. And I think everyone in the competition to see that they can be beaten.
In the next showdown, the contestants have to contend with a rope which is suspended meters in the air, also a very heavy weight. This challenge is all about balance.
I'm afraid of heights, so I remember when I got to the top, and I'm like, oh boy.
That was surprisingly heavy.
Guys, come, let's talking, let's go! Do something!
We're a third of the way through the competition, and the question still remains. Can these teams continue to compete at the pace with which they started? That's what you need to compete in the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge.